Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. President Joe Biden has started his presidency by signing a string of executive orders that will undo much of the work of his predecessor, Donald Trump.
We're going to rejoin the Paris Climate Accord as of today.
The United States is set to rejoin the Paris Climate Agreement and stop the withdrawal process from the World Health Organization, both initiated by Mr. Trump. President Biden has also officially reversed some of the most divisive policies of Mr. Trump's White House, such as ending the travel ban on predominantly Muslim and African countries and halting the construction of the wall on the US-Mexico border. The president has also launched his 100 Days Masking Challenge, ordering a mandatory mask mandate in all US federal buildings for the first 100 days of his administration to try and curb the spread of COVID-19. Meanwhile, China has imposed sanctions on outgoing Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and 27 other high-ranking officials. The Chinese government has accused Mr. Pompeo and the other officials of prejudice and hatred against China. The Foreign Ministry has said that the former Trump administration officials have been anti-China politicians who have undermined the relationship between the US and China. The officials that have been sanctioned also include Trade Chief Peter Navarro, National Security Advisors Robert O'Brien and John Bolton, Health Secretary Alex Azar, UN Ambassador Kelly Craft, and former top Trump aide Steve Bannon. A twin suicide bombing has killed at least 28 people and wounded 73 others in Baghdad. A double explosion hit a crowded market street of the Iraqi capital near Tehran Square. A military spokesman said 2 suicide bombers detonated their explosives while being pursued by security forces. No group has so far claimed responsibility for the attack, but suicide attacks have mostly been used by ISIS. This has been the first suicide blast in Baghdad since January 2018. Ugandan opposition leader Bobi Wine has filed an arbitrary detention complaint to the United Nations. Mr. Wine has been under house arrest with the military surrounding his residence in the capital Kampala since Friday, after he began disputing the results of the presidential election. The opposition leader had said he will legally contest the result of the election, alleging widespread fraud. Mr. Wine lost to incumbent President Yoweri Museveni, who has been in power since 1986. The European Union has said it is concerned about the continued harassment of politicians and civil society activists in the country after the general election. A fire has broken out at the Serum Institute of India, the world's biggest vaccine maker. A source close to the firm has said that the fire will not affect the production of coronavirus vaccines. Currently, the Serum Institute is manufacturing millions of doses of vaccine developed by Oxford University and AstraZeneca for India and many other low and middle-income countries. Reports have said that the blaze was at a new plant under construction at a large facility. Meanwhile, India's government has offered to suspend implementation of 3 new farm laws that have sparked widespread protests across the country. The Agriculture and Farmers Welfare Minister has said that during the suspension, representatives of the government and farmers should work together to provide solutions for the industry. Farmers have said that the new laws would put them at the mercy of big corporations and effectively making India's traditional wholesale markets irrelevant. So far, all the talks between the farmers and the government to try and solve the deadlock have failed. People have been evacuated overnight due to widespread flooding across England and Wales caused by Storm Christoph. Over 2,000 homes have been affected by the severe storm. Currently, there are more than 200 flood warnings in place, 7 of them severe, and weather alerts for heavy rain and snow. Trains have been cancelled between Manchester, Liverpool and Warrington, and people are being urged not to travel unless absolutely necessary. Emergency workers have also been called out to protect supplies of the Oxford vaccine, as the massive warehouse in Wrexham storing the supply has been at risk of flooding. And finally, Nepal will turn trash collected from Mount Everest into art in a bid to highlight the need to save the world's tallest mountain from turning into a dumping site. Used oxygen bottles, torn tents, ropes, cans and plastic wrappers that have been discarded by climbers will be handled and segregated by a local environmental group and will be transformed into art and displayed in a nearby gallery. Solely in 2019, an estimated 80,000 trekkers, climbers and guides have visited the area, and as it can be seen from these images, tons of trash have been left on Mount Everest. However, since there are no roads, it's thought cleaning the remote region will be a huge challenge. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel studios in Lagos.